White Rocket Entertainment podcast number 937. As we watch Auburn basketball begin their season live on the air, another tough football loss results in Auburn parting ways with Coach Hugh Freeze and beginning the search for a replacement. We have thoughts. The AU Wishbone is next. From the, I don't know, what is it like? I'll just say from Southern Illinois and Eastern Virginia. It's the AU Wishbone podcast. John, how are you tonight?
I'm well, Van. How are you?
I'm feeling divested of my head coach.
You're feeling coachless.
I am, but I'm interimed. So all is not lost. So we're going to talk about that. We've got so many things to get into. We got to talk about we got to talk about the Kentucky game, the firing of Hugh Freeze, DJ Durkin, the upcoming Vandy game, the coaching search in general. The basketball team is now underway currently. In fact, they're winning by 1 in the second half. This is one of those mini podcasts we do where there's a basketball game going on the we'll get in trouble here. On the iPad as we're speaking is the basketball game because Sean Murphy just scored. That's cool. And we got a lot more to do. So let's get right on into it now. It's the Auburn Fun Meter, our weekly look at how much fun it is to be an Auburn fan right now. And I got to be honest with you, with an Auburn basketball game on the air as we speak, and somebody just took it the length of the court and scored, and the end of the Hugh Freeze era, which we've got a lot to say about that. I mean, I'm not miserable right now. I'm not thrilled. You know what I mean? It's one of those. We're going to talk about it.
It's a tough one for me because I sat through that game Saturday night, and so I was not having a good time. And the basketball game is honestly a little closer than I would like, so that's contributing to my not having a good time. So I'm like a 3. But I agree. Basketball season starting, changing coaches, like all that reasons for optimism. Yes,
I'm going to say 5. Just because I did not have to actually drive all the way down to Auburn and sit through it. I just had to pay $6 to watch it on basically pay-per-view on Sling. Like I'm paying $18 to watch the basketball game right now because I got a week pass that'll run through the Vanderbilt game. See, so I know that I do realize that sounds dumb because I could have just paid $6 tonight and $6 on Saturday and saved $6. But I want to see the Tulane game also, and it's on like Thursday or Friday.
And we have another basketball game on Thursday you can watch.
And we do. So I'm going to get I'm getting my money's worth out of that $18. I'm getting as many events out of it as I can. So there you go. All right. So, yeah, we have a lot of thoughts here and a lot of stuff to dig through in this probably 3.5 to 4 hour show tonight. So,
buckle in.
Lord, let's don't make it go that long. All right. So, I have sat back and allowed. Keyshawn Hall is shooting free throws. And we're only up by 1. So, there we go. John has laid out the order we will be doing this in. And this will include something of an abbreviated trial of Hugh Freeze. He's got his gavel and he's got his robes on, you may notice. If you're watching on the YouTube channel.
People have been calling for the trial. We're going to have an abbreviated version of the trial. We're going to begin with the basics, though. The basics.
But it's a 3-pointer from Bethune-Cookman. Well, I was just going to say it's an abbreviated version because he's already been fired.
Truth. And the reason people may ask, like, how could you have a trial of somebody who's already fired? And so I went to the history books, as Van might appreciate. And there were several trials of former popes where they dug up a dead pope and put him in the chair and put him on trial for heresy. And so that's kind of what we're going to do tonight.
That's so good. That's so good. All right. It's 45-44 Auburn with 16:55 to go. They hit a 3, and then we missed a 3, but then we made a shot and went back up by 1. I mean, they're out rebounding us under the. Oh my gosh! Seriously, we're not a great defensive team.
Understatement.
All right.
Sunday afternoon, Hugh Freeze was fired. I would like, Van, for your immediate reaction when you heard the news he's fired.
Well, to be fair, people were texting me at 1:30 Saturday night, Sunday morning, telling me it's already happened. So by the time the word actually got out, I was pretty much, usually when that kind of thing happens, it means it's that it actually, if several people are telling you, oh, I know insiders, and they're saying it was done by midnight or whatever. So I was not surprised, but it was relief. But I mean, I want to make this clear. This is not, it's an occasion of relief because it needed to happen. But we wanted him to succeed. Whether you liked him or not, we wanted Auburn to succeed, and we wanted to win football games regardless of who the coach was. And so having to rip it all apart and start over again after 2.5 years since we last did it is not a good thing for anybody. It's not good for Hugh Freeze, obviously, and it's not good for Auburn to be in the position of having to do it. Now, once it became clear that we were going to have to do it, then yeah, I'm glad. I just hate that we had to. I wish that Hugh Freeze could have gone undefeated every year. You know what I mean? I wish that we'd never lost a game. So it sucks to have to do this. It sets us back another probably 2 or 3 years, starting all over again, rebuilding again, right? So, but then again, if there's any program in the country that brings in a new coach and suddenly has a spectacular first year, it's Auburn, 1993 and 2013. Terry Bowden and Gus both had spectacular first years when nobody expected them to. So I'm not saying that that's likely, but it's not outside the realm of what's happened before.
If a bunch of this roster stays, it's very possible.
Yeah. Yeah. Because somebody was saying we have like the 10th best talent in the country on this roster.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Well, it's certainly doing the defense. The offense, they got to show something.
Well, we do at a lot of positions on offense. Your second point here is very important too, though. Number 2.
Yeah. Well, I by the way, to finish that thought out, I failed to say when we actually fired Potato, that was just a happy occasion, period. There was no, oh no, it's setting us back. That was just like shoot the fireworks off. The potato, that he was gone. But this is different because I really did want Freeze to succeed and all that. My other point was that we've got to get this right because, we've said before that we're in danger of turning into Tennessee. Well, let's be honest. We kind of have turned into the Tennessee the last decade. It's too late now. That volunteer Navy has sailed. that Orange Navy has sailed. So now instead of just being Tennessee, I'm afraid there's just a whole generation of young fans that don't see us as Tennessee. They see us as Mississippi State or worse. And I know I ticked off a couple of the Mississippi State fans by saying that. And I knew I would when I tweeted it today, or yesterday, but I'm like, they'll get over it. They know, in their heart of hearts, they know. And that's kind of what we've been. And I had smart Alex tweeting me back saying, well, you are. And I'm like, I know but we don't want to stay there. We've got to get back.
That's right.
The longer you stay in that level, the deeper the perception becomes that's
and
reality.
The harder it is to get out. And if you stay too long, you're Nebraska.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, because I was just people were replying to me about that and saying I have nephews that were born after 2017 or whatever, or after 2013, and they don't want to be Auburn fans. They want to be like LSU or Georgia fans because they just think we've never been any good.
Yes.
When we won the national championship in 2010 and had a great season in 2013, I kept thinking not only are we enjoying this now, but this is going to pay dividends for us in the future because people will know that we're a great program. Little did I know 15 years later, that's all we have to hang our hat on lately, other than the 7 other national championships that we just won. But But yeah, I mean, you know, I always, it makes me think of a conversation I had with one of our mutual friends from Model UN who was not from the South. Okay. And I remember one time we were talking about Auburn football, just one of the few times that we were among our Model UN friends. And she looked at me and says, Van, has Auburn ever won a national championship? And this was in like 1989 or something, or 1990. She says, has Auburn ever won a national championship? And I said, yeah, 1957. And she goes, oh, well, that, you know, her reaction was 1820. You know what I mean? Like I could have said during the reign of George III, I could have said, you know. And so, if it's more than a couple of years ago, it's a tree falling in the forest, you know, did it even make a noise?
And you're not exaggerating, because recruits, young people in school, they don't know about it, so therefore it's not real. And that's the people your fans are, your future recruits are. So on the immediate reaction side, I just wanted to say, like, I was not surprised after being in that stadium, seeing that offensive performance, and seeing the fan reaction at the end of that game in the stadium. There was a lot of fire freeze chants, and there was a lot of, I mean, at the end of the game, the last few series, we got sacked. People around me were just laughing. They were just like, yeah, of course that's what we're doing. Of course that's what happened. So it was
because Ashton Daniels came out looking like, he didn't come out looking like Ashton Daniels against Arkansas. He came out looking, it was like Hugh Freeze just stuck him into the mold and said ABC, you know, do the same exact things that Arnold was doing. That just mystified me.
Well, maybe it's not the quarterback, man.
Well, right. Well, yeah, it's like if Steve Spurrier had put Danny Werfel in and said, do exactly what Terry Dean's been doing. Just chuck it down the middle to the safety.
That's it.
That's crazy. He wouldn't have done that, and he didn't.
Nope.
So, they're tied again. 52-50 Bethune.
All right, we're going into the trial now. We're going to have an abbreviated trial, so I'm going to give the short version of this. So let me get
the court's attention. Silence! All right, go ahead.
How about you're out of order?
Oh, I got that standing by for you.
You are out of order. You're out of order. You're out of order. The whole trial is out of order.
Now, here we go.
All right, so this is something we came up with at the end of the Gus tenure. And the idea behind it was to present both the pros and cons of the coach and some factual information, and then let the jury, the people, decide what's happened. As we pointed out, this case is more of like we dug the skeleton of the dead pope out and we're trying him for heresy, as they have done several times in history. And so the defendant's already been tried and executed. You know, we're just doing a show trial for entertainment value here. So, and because we give the people what they want, man, and they asked for this over the last few months, and here we are. So, all right, we're going to present the pro and the con, and then we're going to give a verdict. So, Van, how would you like to begin?
I have to go ahead and give a directed verdict from the judge. I have a summary judgment already prepared, and that is...
What are you looking at? A dead body. You are arrested and condemned.
You are arrested and condemned.
There you go.
Drag him away.
Van has
spoken. That was the quickest trial in history.
All right, I'm going to go a little bit longer than that, but not much longer. On the pro side for Hugh Freeze, and I would say this, that it is the truth. Like, Hugh Freeze did improve the talent level on the roster. Both the blue chip ratio and the overall talent composite rating are the highest they have been since 2017 and maybe before that. So he definitely improved the level of talent on the roster from the end of the Gus era and from the Potato era.
Mm-hmm.
And you wanted to say something about that.
That means that if there's one thing we know for sure, it's that there's going to be somebody out there, the next time we win a big game, they're going to say, he did it with Freeze's players. And he won't necessarily be wrong.
Nope.
But that's okay. I'll take it. Freeze has been well compensated for recruiting us a nice lineup. Now, the trick is to hang on to him for the next coach.
Amen.
That's going to be the trick.
It'll be, and they have free will in this process too. So we'll see what we can do. We need to make it a place they want to play. So
it's a different world from it's been any other time we've changed coaches, and we just don't know what's going to happen.
That's right. All right. That's it for the pro side. Now we're going to go to the con side. I mean, is there some other great moment in Hugh Freeze's tenure that I should emphasize, or other great thing that he did?
He had fun press conferences. That's about it.
That's on the con list.
Oh, okay. That's right. Because of what he would give away or what he would say and get himself in trouble.
I mean, that's not number one, but on the con list is sometimes we don't have to say everything that comes into our head.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. I'm not going to go into I was going to do his whole overall record in the SEC and all kind of stuff, but I'm going to go with one stat. At home in Jordan-Hare, Hugh Freeze was 2-10 against power conference teams.
Well,
yeah, that's a pretty bold statement. You know what I mean? It's factual.
Yeah.
So a gigantic home field advantage. That crowd brought it even Saturday night. Again, that cold stadium, they brought it against when the defense was on the field and stuff, and we got very little return for it.
Blasphemy!
All right. The biggest complaint against Hugh Freeze, the biggest charge against him is the offense and his management of offense. So he was here 3 years, 3 seasons. In the second season and third season, he took direct control of the offense. He seized the wheel. He pushed out the field marshal.
You take the wheel.
And hired his people who would let him play call and agree with him. And so it's the Gus problem, because once he did that, all the offense is on him. And if things were great, it'd be fine. But points per play in SEC games in 2023, 25. In 2024, 19. In 2025, 15.
Getting worse every year with better players is not – I mean, I'm going to say something about the Joel Catt take on this in a little bit, which is the most absurd thing I've ever heard.
I don't care about what other non-SEC people think. But
it just shows the absurd reactions that some supposedly intelligent people can make. But yeah, I've said all along, the 2023 team could beat the 2024 team and the 2025 team. If the team you started out with and said, oh, our talent sucks, we've got to get better, could beat your other more recent teams with the talent allegedly on them, that's a very bad thing. We didn't fire Freeze because we lost whichever games. We fired him because it was obvious we weren't going to win any games doing what he's doing.
Exactly. And he, as you said, we underachieved with the talent we have now. In year one, you can say, oh, we don't have as much talent as everybody else. In year 3, you can't say that. We are underachieving with the level of talent we have on the field.
Yeah, and how is the recruiting going to get better? The recruiting is getting worse, but how's it going to get better when we start losing the players we have and can't get new ones because we're not doing anything with them?
And again, we said this in the last offseason. You can't promise hope and playing time anymore. You had to win games and make it a fun, winning atmosphere to get players to come, and we weren't doing that.
Hey, to be fair, the Jordan-Hare crowd has done the best they possibly could to keep that up. At some point. And I wanted to, that was the thing I want to comment on a minute ago. You mentioned how the crowd in Auburn was reacting. And I just want to say, about a lot of programs, you can say, oh, well, the crowd was booing the coach, or the crowd wants the coach fired or whatever. And that happens a lot. But you got to understand, for those that don't know Auburn that well or haven't been to a home game, Auburn's fans don't generally get on our players or coach unless it is serious. No. That's how you know. Because they support until it becomes absurd to support. And at that point, when it becomes just absurd to do it, then they'll check out, which is what they did against Kentucky. But
that's right.
So that's how you know.
All right, next on the Freeze list, the other big piece of the offense was the decision-making of who will play quarterback and then the development of those players. So he made 3 big decisions: Peyton Thorne 1, Peyton Thorne 2, Jackson Arnold 3. In each case, he had other options and other choices. Hugh Freeze chose those people, and then he developed them. And after a year of Peyton Thorne, he said Peyton Thorne is the guy, and brought him back again with no other SEC quarterbacks on the roster last year. And then this year, he was like, he looked at Jackson Arnold struggling at Oklahoma and said, that's the guy. Not some lower-level person who threw for 3,000 yards or whatever and made a bunch of plays, but this guy who was struggling in Oklahoma is like, I can fix him and make him better. And I think he thought he was a quarterback whisperer who could develop these guys into star players because he had done some of that before, and it didn't happen. And the other part of this is the offensive scheme itself is not good. We've talked about this a lot. It doesn't use the talent we have. He didn't look at the talent we have and say, this is what the roster should do. He had a vision for, this is what I want the offense to be, and force that square peg in that round hole every day for all 3 years he was here. And we don't have a scheme that gets the receivers open. It doesn't get them easy catches. I don't think what we're doing is, putting the quarterbacks in a good position to succeed. And we'll talk about it when we get to the Vanderbilt game.
Zach Blackerby has made a very good point the last few days. He said, if you caught him, he said, every pass we ever throw to our receivers is them coming back to the ball on a short route. We never throw the ball to them on heading toward the goal line. Never. No. It's true.
No, we don't. We don't run slants anymore. We don't throw the ball downfield because I think they're scared about what's going to happen if they do. So it's the truth. All right. You had a point about this year, what we'd have to do.
Oh, this was before the firing, but I was just pointing out, if we lose to Kentucky, which we were counting on to get us to a bowl game and a winning season, now the only way that we can get to a bowl game, and everybody's like, why would you want this team to go to a bowl? And that's fair, but the only way we can get to a bowl game now is we have to either beat Alabama or Vanderbilt, who were both entered the day ranked in the top 10. I don't know if Vanderbilt still is after losing to Texas, but they played them awfully close, though.
They did.
But just think, we have to beat Mercer, which I don't take for granted now, and we have to either beat Alabama or Vanderbilt just to get to a bowl game. So, yeah, it's not looking good there, which means another losing season, which is just infuriating. And I also noted the highlights of the Hugh Freeze era, right? This is what we sat through 2 2/3 of a season for, and paid all this money. We got a win over Cal in 2023 in California. We got the overtime win over A&M last year. We beat Baylor in the first game this year, and we had 2 wins over a really bad Arkansas team. That's pretty much the highlights of the entire Hugh Freeze era. And I mean, yeah, and that's it. And and somebody pointed out, I thought this was a brilliant observation, that the only reason we beat Baylor this year is that they bought the hype about our passing game because we hadn't played a game yet. And I was like, and so they defended the pass. They didn't need to, but they did. They doubled all of our receivers and we ran the ball all over them. If we had played Baylor like 2 weeks ago, they'd have beat us.
That's fair, because they could score points.
They'd have just stopped the run and dared us to pass.
Well, and we wouldn't have chosen to run the ball if they weren't playing that soft zone defense with the safety back. We wouldn't have chosen it. So
we'd have spent the whole game trying to pass, and it would have been like 34-13.
Yep, you're exactly right. You're exactly right.
So thank goodness we opened with them. And honestly, I think that win over Baylor was the high point of the entire Freeze era. I know that beating A&M in overtime was great, and we were there, and it was fun. But, I mean, the Baylor game was the one that we all said, this is it, right? This is the key game of the Freeze era. We've got to win it. And I was so worried about it. And we won it by like 2 scores, and that was probably as happy as I was to be in Auburn and throw toilet paper and everything when we beat A&M in overtime. I think I was just happy and relieved. When we beat Baylor this year, I really thought we'd turn the corner and this was going to be it. And then, man, did it take a south turn. Oh.
No, I think that's a good call. I think that probably was the peak.
Yeah.
That's tough.
It is.
The
And
last thing
they're 4-4, by the way. So yeah, whoop-de-hoop.
yeah. The last thing I want to say as we wrap this up, the abbreviated trial of Hugh Freeze, is that the special teams were terrible and got worse every year he was here, basically. And the penalties were terrible. We got more penalized each year that he was at Auburn. So the team became sloppier and sloppier during his time at Auburn. And, I think it's easy to say, oh, we had these health problems with the kicker and we had these ref problems and all that stuff. The execution of the team is what it was. And this was a sloppy team that was poorly coached on offense, and a top 5 defense of college football couldn't get them across to wins, partially because we chose not to play to our strengths and run the ball, play field position defense. No interest in doing that at all. No. So, that's right. All right. This concludes the trial portion of the program.
What are you looking at? A dead man. You are arrested and condemned.
And then,
my fellow Americans, our long national nightmare is over.
Thank you, Mr. President.
I've been thinking about that soundbite a lot the last few days, honestly. So.
I tell you, and I hate that it has to be the one that we. I just hate having it. Like I said, this is not a happy. It's a relief given the circumstances. I mean, and it's the sickening thing to me has been that almost every week the situation has gotten darker. Like it went from, well, we kind of probably need to fire Freeze, but what'll that do to our current players and our recruiting class, to we're not going to salvage them anyway, even if we keep him. That was kind of the turning point I made on it, was realizing if they're going to leave because we fire him, they're going to leave because we don't fire him. Either way, we're screwed.
Or they're going to leave anyhow.
Yeah. So I mean, that was the turning point with me, was when I realized that it really didn't matter at this point. We just needed to rip off the bandage. I wanted to just very quickly address. Because people were asking me this. Several people on Twitter asking, "What is your take on the Joel Klatt thing?" And I'll just state it very quickly. What he said was, he was on one of those, YouTube shows. One of those idiots that get on YouTube and talk about football. People.
It's a bunch of Birmingham people. So,
yeah, okay. And I was joking about us too, but self-deprecating. But no, they asked him about, and he said Auburn is over their skis. He just kept coming back to, they're not even the best program in their state. Why do they think they should be so good, basically? And I'm like, we can't help who is also in our state. That's just the stupidest take I've ever heard in my life. I said, are we supposed to have lower ambitions because the state line runs east of Lee County rather than west of it? If we were does Florida State say, oh, well, Florida's in our state, so we can't be any good? Does Miami say we better give all those national championships back because Florida and Florida State are in the same state? We're not the best program. That's the stupidest take I've ever heard of. Michigan State should just shut down their program, I guess. UCLA shouldn't play football because of USC. Indiana, look at Indiana. They're going to be they're like the number 2 team in the country. Guess what? They're in the same state as Notre Dame, Joel Klatt. You are an idiot. Idiot. That's so stupid. It's the stupidest take I've ever heard. Ever.
Understood. He's a Big Ten contracted announcer who was on a radio show in Birmingham. It was on purpose. So
he's an absolute dolt.
All right.
We're 63-62 Bethune-Cookman, by the way. 7:21 to go.
All right. I'm not having fun there. I'm going to be honest.
No, not a lot of fun being had. 63-63. Keyshawn Hall just sank 2 free throws.
All right.
On to the next
thing.
We
want.
Who do we want? All right.
The AU Wishbones official reveal. We've had this question from listeners several times. Who do we actually want to be our coach? Do you want to go first? Do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first?
I'll go first just because mine is really short. I'm not completely sold on John Sumrall at Tulane. I have certain questions and concerns. I've saying on Twitter this afternoon that I'm slightly concerned he could be another
potato.
Not in the sense of not a hard worker, not in the sense of all that, just in the sense of the Tulane program had been built up by that Fritz coach to be very good, and then Sumrall has come in and done well with it. But Fritz was like, his last two teams were like 11-2, 12-2 or something. Sumrall was like 9-4, 9-5 last year, and this year he's like 6-2 or something like that. So not bad at all. But I'm afraid he's somewhere between a potato and a Gus. You correct me, please. I want to be told I'm wrong.
All right. I disagree. I think Sumrall is the number one candidate, and I think it's in the past I've had kind of tiers of candidates, and I'll go into some of that a little bit. But I think he's the number one candidate by a lot.
Okay, good.
From Alabama, SEC assistant, knows how to recruit in the SEC, has been a winner as a head coach at Troy and then at Tulane, stepped up a level and is I think a guy who wants to be here, wants to coach in this state, wants to coach at Auburn, not a guy looking for a paycheck.
Good. So I like it. This all sounds good.
I think he there was a really good article on him in the Athletic a few weeks ago. He is a process improvement person who's always kind of thinking about how can I make this work better, but also like not just how can I slough it off on other people, but what can I do to make this work? And he got to Troy. They didn't have any nutrition stuff. They didn't have any like smoothies for players, for example. And he was like, this is a problem. So he's like, I'm going to need a bunch of protein. And he immediately goes to a local peanut butter company and makes a deal with them to support Troy football and provide him like a pallet of peanut butter every couple of weeks. So then he got some volunteers from the nutrition school to make smoothies for the players or whatever, using the peanut butter and some fruits and vegetables and stuff. So that but he made that happen on his own. It wasn't like a other people thing. And I think people that know him and he is a good person. There's a little bit of the Bruce Pearl piece to him. Dan Peck told a story today on their podcast, I think is pretty good. And it's very Bruce Pearlish that the women's basketball team for Troy lost in the conference tournament. And it was a big upset. They were very disappointed. They didn't make the NCAA tournament because they got beat in this upset loss. They drove home in the bus. There was a crowd of people waiting for them, including John Sumrall. He was the first person there.
Oh, that's so good.
That's a little bit of that Bruce Pearl supporting other people. I think he's a good football coach, and I think he's number one. For me, number two is Kenny Dillingham. I have several candidates like him that are at their alma mater. I don't know if any of these candidates will leave their alma mater, but Kenny Dillingham is a freaking good football coach. That place was an absolute flaming dumpster fire when he got there because of the shenanigans of the previous coaches. He got in. They were bad their first year. Their second year, they were picked last in the Big 12 and went to the playoff. They lost a bunch of their good players last year, came back this year. They're good again. They beat Texas Tech, who's a top 10 team. Their starting quarterback got hurt a week ago. He's out for the season. He puts in a backup. That guy ran for like 240 yards last weekend because he adjusted the offense and took advantage of what that guy could do and put him in a position to succeed. He is a freaking good football coach in terms of the offense, and I think he might leave because Arizona State is a mid-level Big 12 team in terms of money. Right. They're not in the top half of that conference in terms of spending money and commitment to football. And I think he thinks he's good enough that he could do better somewhere else with more resources. And I think he's a younger coach. I think he connects well with players, recruits, and transfers. One of the things that I want to coach for the new world and not the old world. With Freeze, we hired a guy who had success 10 years ago. I want a coach who is winning and can win and can operate in the current environment of college football. in 2025.
Well, I mean, and he's 12 years old, so you're going to have him for a long time.
He looks that, yes. Again, I have no problem with hiring a younger coach. I think it's a great thing. Eli Drinkowitz, I like him. Out of everybody on anybody's list, this person has won 10 games in the SEC multiple times at a school with less resources than Auburn. I mean, one of the reasons we hired Tuberville is he was winning games at Ole Miss, and they didn't have what Auburn had.
Well, that's the thing with Drinkwitz is, would he leave Missouri where he's – I mean, think about it. He is in the position with Missouri now that Stoops was at Kentucky 3 or 4 years ago, where they were – you remember that, like, the big national broadcasters were saying Stoops has the best job in football because he can go 8-5 every year, and they'll make a statue to him.
But I don't know if Missouri football fans are quite there with Kentucky football fans. And I also think there's a ceiling of what he can do at Missouri. He's not going to win the SEC at Missouri or win the national title. And I think he's a good coach who, again, was at Auburn for a minute and could come. I think he's on Florida's list too. We'll see.
That just blows my mind. He just doesn't seem like a great – he seems like he should be the analyst like he was for Chiswick, right? He was the quality control analyst guy for Chiswick in 2010.
He has some of that dorky analyst quality to him, but I think he's a good coach. I think they recruit well, they analyze talent, evaluate talent well, and they're doing fine at Missouri.
And it took them a while for him to get it going. He had a couple of pretty bad years there. And that, by the way, that's another thing that Joel Klatt said that I meant to address too, was he said Auburn is not patient enough. And again, this is just idiotic because we were plenty patient with our last two coaches. It's not our fault that they both turned out to fizzle out and have nothing. If we'd given Freeze 3 more years, do you think he would have gotten us to the playoffs? I don't.
No, because the only path forward for improvement was bringing in somebody completely different for the offense. We've talked about this. I don't think he could do it.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs?
Exactly.
Speaking of playoffs, the next candidate on my list is Brent Key of Georgia Tech. Again, another alumni. Georgia Tech is poor by ACC standards. They don't have a lot of money. This guy's a freaking good football coach. They're winning a bunch of games. They play a tough style that I think would really appeal to Auburn fans. And I think there's a real limit of what he can do there because of the resources at Georgia Tech. I don't know if he would leave his alma mater, but that is a guy that other teams, besides Auburn are going to call.
Hey, okay, had to be done.
Next on my list is Clark Lee, another alumni.
Vanderbilt.
Went there when they were terrible, had like a 10-year plan and said, this is how we're going to get to be good. And he made them good. It's not just Diego Pavia. Do not be fooled by this. People are going to say, oh, it's just Diego Pavia. He's nothing without him. Their offensive and defensive lines are freaking good at Vanderbilt. Okay. This is in some way better and much more sustainable than what James Franklin did there. Okay. Because they're facing SEC teams and they are not getting pushed around. They're pushing some other SEC teams around. And they have done a great job at evaluating talent that other SEC schools didn't want, and they have tough academic standards. They're getting those kids in, and they are turning out really good football teams. I think he's a really smart coach. They also, again, they know they're not going to have the most talent on the field every week. So they play, what do? They adapt to it. They play a slow style on offense, and they play tough defense where they try to grind you down. The last guy on my list is Alex Golish. And again, if we hired him, I'd be fine. He was the offensive coordinator.
Okay, that's all I want to do.
That's it. Why are you playing that so people get it?
He was born in Moscow, and not Moscow, Idaho either. In Soviet Union. Well, in Russia.
See the deep state plant?
Yeah. Yeah, it's from South Florida to Auburn, Alabama to the world. That's it, man.
He was the offensive coordinator at Tennessee when they were great. a few years ago on offense when they beat Alabama and they were doing everything. Then he took over South Florida and they were terrible. And now they're potentially going to make the playoff. So like
they've been a very good team the last couple of years.
Like again, path of the current Tennessee coach, exactly the same. Okay. This is a guy who deserves a big time job and should get hired for one of these jobs. They play that, that Baylor style of offense that Tennessee plays. If you like that, like he's going to bring that, and it's wherever it goes. I think there's some level it's going to work for a while. So I think he's a good coach. I think every year South Florida got better. They beat University of Florida this year when they were undermanned. So I think he's a really, really good candidate.
I'll give him this. A, we would get to use the Soviet national anthem soundboard button more often. B, Cam Coleman and this crowd with that offense might be fun. Might be fun.
I just think like when you talk about fun, coaches who could come in and make an offense work immediately, like he could do that. There's no doubt in my mind.
With the players that we have right now, if they could retain them, yes, that would be really exciting. And bring in with Deuce Knight, if we can keep Deuce Knight and these receivers, and then maybe bring in a couple better offensive linemen or something. And
it's a system that's better for offensive linemen. Yeah.
The running back situation should be okay, right? We're going to get we should have Darrell Robinson back, I would think, right? He has another year of eligibility. We'll have Jeremiah Cobb back. We'll have our freshman Omar and our other freshman that still hasn't played. Yeah, the running back situation should be really good if we can keep those guys. The receiver situation should be good. So whoever comes in the defense, if we can retain 80% or more of what we have right now, the next coach, if they're competent at all, is going to have a good time.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I had John Sumrall. I don't really have anybody else I'm super excited about, but you certainly make a good case. I would say I'll be the judge here for just a second. You've just laid out the case for all those guys. Let me review. You lay out the case for John Sumrall, Kenny Dillingham, Eli Drinkwitz, Brent Key, Clark Lee, and Alex Golesh. I think you made a very good argument. You encouraged me about Sumrall, which is good because he was my one guy. You made an excellent case for Dillingham, who I was not taking seriously. And the other and Brent, Key, Lee, and Golesh, I'm now like, okay, I can see it. I can see the path forward with each of them. So Drinkwitz, I'm still not. I don't think you're any more excited about him than I am, but he's not an exciting choice.
But I think he could win.
Yeah. All right. There were two other coaches that I think. I'm going to say three, because first we need to totally eliminate Jimbo Fisher. And I think that whoever's been throwing that name around needs to just stop and go away, because Jimbo Fisher's
agent has been the one throwing that name around. And that no chance, no way, no how.
Let me kick you and come back in because you've frozen up. 1 second. Uh-oh.
I'm here.
We've lost you entirely.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Oh, dear. Can you hear me, John?
I can hear you. You're good.
Okay. I think you need to go out and come back in.
All right.
Just try
I'll do that.
All right. So while John is doing that, I was going to say, there's two other coaches besides Jimbo Fisher that we need to talk about. Neither one of them is like big on John or my list, but they deserve to be mentioned. One, of course, is DJ Durkin, and when John comes back, we'll talk about him here in just a second. But the other one is Tony Franklin. Again, neither John nor I has Tony Franklin on our list, and of course, my list is one name. But that's what I tend to do, though, right? I wanted Chiswick. Let's go back further. I wanted Tuberville. We got Tuberville. I wanted Chiswick. We got Chiswick. I wanted Gus, and we got Gus. So I was 3 in a row for my one person getting chosen, for better or worse. I was not I was not ever for the it's gone. I was never
Potato.
no. And I said we would hire Freeze, but that doesn't mean I was like super excited for him. Where John went, he's supposed to come back. Maybe that's what the problem was, is that is he can't even get in now. Oh dear. But yeah, so I've been pretty good on my picking of who the coach should be. The only one I think I was wanting, when we got Potato, I think I was wanting Billy Napier, so that wouldn't have worked out probably. We'll never know. And then this past time, I was really torn because I was expecting Freeze, but I was still kind of hoping Lane Kiffin. But when Kiffin started the whole "I'm not really coming," I was just using that, to get a raise, and I never really was serious about Auburn. When he kind of started talking that way, I was like, well, then forget you, man. I don't want you anyway. So I'm gonna say, oh, there he is. All right, let's see if this worked. There he is. Whoop.
There they are. There they are. Are they not a shame on their country?
Technology is a wonderful thing.
We got you back. Okay, I was starting to worry. So all I was doing while you were gone was just saying I was doing a very long version of saying we also need to make the case for DJ Durkin and Tony Franklin. I said neither one of us have either one of them on our list, but there is an argument to be made. All right, so we're going to talk about Durkin. He's been talked about. And he's a serious coach. All right. We're going to talk about Durkin in a little more form, but I just want to get Franklin out of the way. The one argument you can make for Franklin is that he's an experienced Power 4 coach who has taken programs and made them good or better.
You mean time out. You mean James Franklin?
Oh gosh,
you said Tony Franklin, and I'm we're not hiring Tony Franklin.
Oh, we gotta hire Tony. Oh, that's the key. That's the all right. Tony Franklin is now on my list. Yes, I want Tony Franklin and his giant stack of books, and out there coaching the receivers to learn how to catch passes from his quarterback, and bring back Chris Todd. Was it Chris Todd?
It was Chris Todd.
Oh man, absolutely. He's got another year of eligibility in him, surely. All right, it's 75-75 with 48 seconds to go. Auburn just stopped Bethune-Cookman on defense and got the turnover. And now Tahad is working the ball around. There's 38 seconds to go. We're driving in the lane. Turn around, fall away. Ye made it, yes! 77-75 Auburn. 33 seconds to go. 31 seconds to go. Bethune-Cookman calls timeout. All right, so we got like 28.5 seconds to go. Auburn's up 2. There's Aubie. Aubie's in the crowd. All right, so anyway, the case for James Franklin is Tony Franklin is now my main choice. I want Tony Franklin.
You're like, we must hire Tony Franklin.
I wasn't saying that about James Franklin, but now I am. Yeah. So James Franklin, though, the case simply is he's an experienced Power 4 coach. Did really well at Vanderbilt, did okay at Penn State for the most part, and he certainly would have credibility and that kind of thing. But I think that the ship has sailed, and I think that part of the reason they fired him, kind of like with Brian Kelly, the part of the reason they fired him was he's just kind of an a-hole, and nobody liked him, and he just kind of aggravated people. Yeah. So I think he's going to end up at Virginia Tech, which I'm sure your child is very excited about.
He may end up there. He's going to have other job offers too. So I think but again, they have been abysmal for several years and be ecstatic to get him.
They'd love to get him. Sure.
They'd be happy to get Tony Franklin.
Yeah. I love it. I just love it. All right. So I just want to talk really quickly about DJ Durkin because he deserves to be, the whole thing needs to be explained. It's annoying this came up just as we get to the last 28 seconds of the game, the basketball game. But anyway, so here's the deal with people. What don't people understand about DJ Durkin? So correct me if I get anything wrong here. I don't have my notes in front of me. They're in another Google Docs.
But put them in there. Are you good?
I'm good. So basically, the way that I'm just going to give a short version of it, and you guys can go do some deep digging. I read enough of it to understand it. He was the head coach at Maryland, and what happened was he hired a strength and conditioning coach. Turnover. Auburn got the ball with 19 seconds to go. There's that defense. All right, Tahad, back across the halfway court line, and he's fouled. Oh, it's looking good. 13 seconds to go, and Auburn's up 2 with the ball. Looking good. It's looking good. This is Bethune-Cookman, and we're sweating out a close win at home. This is a little disturbing, John. Okay, so Durkin is at Maryland. He hires a strength and conditioning coach. That guy does some stuff that people were not thrilled about, and ultimately causes one of the young men to die of heat stroke. Okay, doesn't handle it the way you're supposed to at all, and he dies. All right. The university president clearly did not like Durkin. He put together a committee to investigate what happened, but then the Board of Regents of the state of Maryland stepped in, and they put together a bigger board to investigate, a committee to investigate. And after a couple of months of investigation, the Board of Regents committee came back and said that Durkin was only minimally responsible. The strength and conditioning coach resigned, okay, I'm sure under pressure, and they pretty much were saying that was it. The president of Maryland said, no, I want to fire Durkin too. And the Board of Regents of Maryland said to the University of Maryland president, if you fire Durkin, we will fire you. That was the part that had me go, wow, okay. So like, you got 2 different groups looking into it, and they had very different opinions about Durkin's culpability and responsibility. Okay. So ultimately, at that point, it looks like Durkin is okay. He goes back to work. He's coaching again. The Board of Regents said that they were very impressed by when he came to talk to them, that they thought he put together a really good presentation about how they would address the situation and improve it and move forward together. They said they really liked what he said. So he goes back to work and everything's fine. Then the governor of Maryland and the family of the young man who passed away, they get into it and they sue the University of Maryland. The governor jumps in and says, well, I don't know if that Larry guy, I don't know if there shouldn't be more people that have to pay a price for it. And so at that point, they fire Durkin. And that's kind of, once he's fired, the family and everybody else is mollified and it kind of goes away. So, all right, your perspective on that.
I think that's a fair summary, other than Maryland paid the family several $1 million because they were viable. And minimal culpability for Durkin is not no culpability.
Sure.
So, and the other, I guess this is the other thing I would say about DJ Durkin at Maryland. Overall record 10-15, conference record 5-13, a worse conference winning percentage than Brian Harsin at Auburn. Wow. 0-8 against ranked teams. So wow. That's not leaping off the page, winning. Let's go get that guy. That's part of the DJ Durkin thing to me now. And I'm saying that because I am very concerned that we're going to get some kind of dead cat bounce on offense. And we're like, it's going to be surprising how much better we are on offense the last 3 games. And we may win a couple of them and people are going to go, it's that Durkin guy. But there's
already people saying that. There's already people saying that.
I understand. And Cohen said today at the press conference that he is a candidate.
Yeah. But, well, I think he kind of had to. You can't come out there and say, you are not a candidate for this job. Now go beat Alabama.
You can have interims who are like, I'm interested in the job. I don't want to be the head coach. Fine.
Right.
But Durkin is a candidate. But my thing is, I want to go out and get somebody, that we can all feel good about and new and different and kind of move forward. That's my thing. Is I want something new. I want to get away from this. And you roll your eyes about what's happening at the basketball game.
Because we were up 3 with the clock about to run out, and their guy shot a 3-pointer from half court and we fouled him. How do you foul a 3-point shooter from half court as the clock is running out? He just made the first of 3 that will tie the game if he makes all 3, and we call timeout apparently.
And if he makes all 3, we're going to overtime.
That guy had my hoodie on, my white Auburn jersey with the blue hood. That's exactly what I wore the other day. Yeah, we'll go to overtime if he makes these 2 shots. That was the dumbest defensive play I've seen in a long time.
Amen. The defense is not good right now. I'm not having a good time. I think Stephen Pearl's not having a good time either. There's going to be some defensive coaching going forward. And on the other hand, I think Bethune-Cookman is not terrible, and I'll be picking them as a 15 seed in March. So
okay, well, I hope they're not terrible too. I hope Oklahoma State's not terrible too, although that was the first game they ever played together. So, all right, you want to briefly? I don't think there's a lot to talk about the Auburn-Kentucky game. I thought the Kentucky punter was the MVP because he really kept us inside our own 10-yard line the whole night. And if you can put Auburn's offense inside our own 10-yard line, then we're never going to cross the 50. All right, here comes the second free throw. All he has to do is miss one, and we're in business. He made it. Set 81-80. Oh, God. How do you foul it? Okay. There's 0.5 left on the clock. We could conceivably hit a full court shot if he makes this.
But I'm not sure you can with that amount of time. I think that's to be a tip. So
and if he misses this and they tip it in, they win. Yeah, if he misses this and they tip it in. So here we go. Live on the air. They shoot. And he made it. So we're going to go to overtime. Unbe-freaking legal.
All right. Kentucky game. As Van said, the punter was the MVP. Auburn had terrible starting field position all night, and they pinned us back. And we couldn't do anything on offense. It didn't matter. We had 2 interceptions. So the only 3 points we got were because the defense intercepted the ball and brought it close to the goal line, and then the offense ended up kicking a field goal, not because the offense did anything. And the second interception, the Fagans intercepted it, was trying to make a break for it, and we were all like, yeah, this is it. He can score it. It's a 94 interception LSU game. That's exactly what I was thinking. I know you were too. And then he fumbles, and I was like, oh, that's it.
Honestly, I didn't mind that he fumbled simply from the grounds that we weren't going to score if he didn't score.
Well, but it was such a brutal play because it was like 3rd and 10, and he intercepted it, and then he fumbled, and Maryland got a first down out of it. So that part was like,
even just salt wounds.
Tough.
I paid $6 to watch it via Sling because I have YouTube TV, and I said I paid $2 a point, $2 a point for that game. Wow. But I'm paying another $6 or whatever right now to watch us go into overtime with Bethune-Cookman. So I feel like I haven't invested my money very wisely lately. This is not good. All right. Anything else about the Kentucky game?
No, the offensive line was really bad. From the opening snap, the offensive line got mauled by Kentucky, got pushed around. Again, the switching the quarterbacks, but at no point in the game did we use Singleton. On the sweep or to get him the ball in space. At no point did we move the quarterback out of the pocket and like roll him out, at no point in the game did we, throw deep to Cam. Because we were so scared to do it because of the way the offensive line was playing. It was just at no point of the game did we call a screen and take advantage of the fact that their defensive line was charging upfield. That part was just.
It was possibly the poorest play called game I've ever seen by any team, by any coach.
Amen.
I mean, I just, I don't even know.
Amen.
All right. So you apportion blame there, I assume.
That's it. We're done.
We're done. Just like Hugh Freeze, we are done. Vanderbilt game preview Saturday, 4:00 Eastern, 3:00 Central on the SEC network. If you don't have YouTube TV, I sold my tickets, so I'll now pay another $6 to watch that game. Hopefully we'll score more than 3 points in Nashville. I had really good seats too, and I sold them, so going to get my money back.
Do you wish you had them now for the first post-freeze?
No. I'm good. I'm very happy that I'm not driving all the way down to Nashville to sit in the cold and watch them score 3 points against Vanderbilt. I'm looking forward to next year going to games, but not. And by the way, we're going to talk about next year's schedule because, good Lord, that's coming up in just a second. I got a couple of things to say. Tell us about Vanderbilt.
So, depressingly, as Van said, Vanderbilt is good. They are 7-2 with road losses at Alabama and at Texas. And as Van said, that Texas game was close, and they hung around with Alabama for a while. They only
lost by one score to Missouri, or they beat Missouri. They beat Missouri in Missouri, I believe, right? I think it was.
Yes. So they are good. This is a good football team. It's not just Pavia. They're good on both lines. Their defense is solid. Their offense, they do this kind of slow the game down, run the ball, milk the clock kind of thing, but they have two great tight ends. That's going to be a problem for us. Those two guys are going to be a problem. It's not just the one guy, that Stowers that came with Pavia. The other guy's pretty good too. They have some pretty good defensive linemen. I'm concerned about our offensive line against the Vanderbilt defensive line, which is never something I thought I would say.
No. That was a line on SEC roll call today where they said something about going up against playoff bound Vanderbilt, whatever. Because I'm pretty sure those words have never been used together in the English language.
No, they have not. And we have no idea what the offense will look like. Who'll start at quarterback? We know Nix will be calling the plays supposedly. I think things will look different. I think it would be hilarious in a very, very funny way if we went out and scored like 50 points on Saturday. I think that would be the funniest thing that could possibly happen. But I don't think that's likely because our quarterbacks are Jackson Arnold and Ashton Daniels, probably so.
They are what they are.
They are. But I think, we'll see. We might see more running the ball. We'll see. We don't know what they're going to change or what they could change. We only scored one offensive touchdown in the loss to Vanderbilt last year at home.
Which I'm like, that's ambitious this year. a touchdown on Vanderbilt? Really? That's impressive.
This economy?
Wow. Yeah.
So, again, I think the defense is going to keep us in the game, but can we go up there and make special teams plays, and can we score enough to keep us in the game? Again, think of it from Durkin's perspective. You got nothing to lose. Zero to lose. So
let it all hang out.
Again, onside kick, flea flicker, all that kind of stuff. I'd say that's probably on the table. Throw it out there.
Everything. Just do it. Big turnover. Auburn is up 86-85 with 3 minutes to go, and they are drawing fouls like nobody's business. They're going to foul the whole Bethune-Cookman team out the way this is going because they're really they called goaltending. So it's 88-85. They call goaltending. Good. All right. I would love to see. I mean, again, I think Hugh had to be cautious because he was afraid to mess up. Whereas you're right, Durkin's in the exact opposite position. He needs to let it all hang out. And I mean, he said in his press conference today that he hasn't really paid attention to the offense in terms of coaching and all that. So he has to sit down and talk to the offensive staff and everything and kind of get a sense, because they asked him who's going to start at quarterback, and he's like, I don't know. Who's our quarterbacks, basically. That hadn't been his job to worry about that. So it's going to be interesting to see what he decides to do. I could see it going either way, honestly. Then there's people saying he should throw Deuce Knight out there for 3 games and still keep his. But he did play in 1 game though, right? So he could only play 2 more.
Yeah, he could play 4. I'd love to see him in the second half of the Mercer game or whatever, depending on how that's going.
Yeah.
But
yes, absolutely. I don't know enough about Derek Nix as a coach to know. I mean, he was Lane Kiffin's offensive coordinator, right? So clearly he's.
But who was calling plays there?
Huh? He wasn't.
That's what I'm saying. Right. He wasn't calling plays there, so we really don't know anything. We don't know.
We really don't know. Exactly. So, all right. So we'll just see what they're going to do. Again, how many changes can you make in a week? I think what's interesting is he'll have a week off before Mercer, right, and then Alabama. So I think what you do there is you minimally prepare for Mercer and then do a lot of work on Alabama.
That's right.
And that's where you can put some, that's where you have the time. He's got like 3-4 days now to get everything ready for Vanderbilt, but he's got basically 2 weeks to get ready for. He's got 3 weeks. He's got the week before Mercer, the week after. He's got 2 weeks.
He's got a week.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Yes, he's got time.
Yeah, he's got the week on either side of Mercer and Alabama, so he's got plenty of time there to. So he's got basically 3 weeks to prepare for Alabama, is what I'm trying to say. All right. I was just noting that our schedule gets so much harder next year, not just because we go to 9 SEC games, that doesn't help, but we play everybody we didn't play the last couple of years, except for Texas. So here's what's going to happen. We lose Kentucky and we lose several other teams. We pick up, I mean, it looks like a 1980s Pat Dye schedule. Yes. We get Southern Miss, okay, which is always fun, but they're usually fairly good. And then we get Tennessee.
They're not terrible anymore.
Yeah. We get Tennessee, Florida, Georgia, and Alabama. Amen corner plus Tennessee. And we get LSU. So we don't have South Carolina, I guess, and we don't have Texas. So those are the 2 teams that don't come over from that we didn't play this year, which is weird. I don't know how that works, but okay. I guess because we keep Georgia, so we don't get South Carolina, and we keep Vanderbilt for the 3rd permanent, so we don't get
Texas.
There's a minute 4 to go, and Auburn's up 4, by the way. Did they just make a 3 or something? Then why aren't they? Okay. Well, anyway, and then Tahad made a great play by Tahad. So yeah, this is what we don't have a pre-Bama cupcake next year.
No.
Somebody asked me who's our pre-Bama cupcake. I said Vanderbilt. That's not a great cupcake, but that's kind of who's in that spot. So 93-88 with a minute to go, Auburn. But this is the part that really gets me. We just had a 2-year stretch of the easiest schedules we're ever going to have in decades and probably afterward. And we wasted them with losing records. The easiest schedules Auburn has had in decades was this year and last year. And we're going to have losing records in both years, probably. And that just absolutely frustrates me no end, because those schedules are now gone, and we're going to be playing Oklahoma and Texas and Florida and LSU and Alabama and Georgia and Tennessee and just But 2027, John, we have Oklahoma at home and Texas on the road. So I don't know about you, but I'm putting money away now for the 2027 trip to Texas.
I'm in.
All right. We'll do it. That'll be awesome.
And
I still got to go to Oklahoma, but I'm looking forward to Texas.
I know, but also like we owe Oklahoma a little payback in a home game too.
Well, I hope that Coach Sumrall can bring it when we play them. Let's see. I guess we're to the basketball program for the portion program, which is appropriate because Auburn is up 5 with 40 seconds to go in overtime. It's gonna kind of suck that we took Bethune-Cookman took us to overtime. As long as we win, though, I don't care.
That's right. Winning ugly is winning.
And I was just pointing out our next game will be against Merrimack. So I just said Auburn's nickname in that game needs to be the Monitor. Little Civil War humor for you there.
That's 8 p.m. Eastern on Thursday on SEC Network Plus, or however you get it.
Same thing I did tonight. I'm going to have to log in using my Sling credentials.
Or the Auburn Radio Network for those of you who are not on that. So.
Or if you have YouTube TV, 2 cans and a string. It's not even as good as the Pac-12 network used to be. Oh man. All right, John, fill us in. We'll let the folks know what happened with the basketball game here, but fill us in on the college football pick'em.
All right. Alone in first place in the college football pick'em, Cato the Barner, with 79.
Wow, look at Cato.
Picks.
All right.
He's pulled ahead of everybody else. Auburn football's
Yep.
Elvis is the second. It was a tough week for Show Me Your TDs, who dropped to third. And then we got a big group behind him. So tough week in the SEC. We'll get to it when we talk about around the SEC, how those games came out. But really, really good competitive pick 'em as we head down the stretch here. I'm excited about it.
Very good. I have no idea how I did this week, but I don't even remember who I picked, to be honest with you. But I'm looking for, oh crap. See, this is what happens. One of our patrons sent me a whole thing about how to pronounce something, and I can't even find it now. So I'm just gonna say, well, oh well. I'll do the best I can. Oh, didn't we get an audio? Yeah, we got an audio thing. Hold on. Our patrons, man, they want a lot for their.
Well,
Here it is. I got it.
You want me to vamp for a minute while you're getting set up there?
No, I got it. I just had to. All right, there it is. Okay. Sometimes it's not easy, but I got it ready. All right, let's see. So there was no fantasy Formula One because there was no Formula One race this weekend, but we got Interlagos coming up this weekend in Brazil. We will see if Max Verstappen can continue to catch up with the orange.
Sounds like
with
the residents of the Bond villain.
It does. He's at Interlagos. We'll see if Max can. Max is a Bond villain, honestly, and we'll see if he can catch up with the Papaya Boys. Because Lando Norris took the lead by 1 point with 3 or 4 races to go. It's crazy. All right, we got to thank the patrons for keeping our program going. And of course, we always start by reminding you we don't have commercials, and this is how you keep our show commercial free, by supporting us through Patreon, www.auwishbone.com, auwishbone.com, where there's a lot of cool stuff you can find that lives on that page. So you can go to www.auwishbone.com and sign up to be a patron, and then just poke around a little bit, find some of our greatest hits and videos and audio clips and great stuff on auwishbone.com. But oh my gosh, we get the follow-up. It's 95 to 90 with 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. 3-point shot is up and no good. Auburn with the rebound. Auburn is going to win the ball game. Woo! Auburn wins! Auburn wins! 95-90 in overtime. Auburn defeats Bethune-Cookman to go to 1-0. That is Stephen Pearl's first official win.
Never a doubt.
Since
Not
being
true.
named,
I had a lot of doubts.
I had a lot of doubts. So Stephen Pearl is 1-0 as an interim coach, and when he took over briefly during the Bruce's penalty a couple years ago, and now he's 1-0 as the full-time coach. And there's a lot of hugging and shaking hands and all that. I'm going to cut this thing off. Hallelujah! Way to go, Stephen! I'm glad you got your first win. Stephen's a really likable guy, and we want him to succeed, not just for Auburn, but for him and for everybody. All right, so www.auwishbone.com. Samuel Salvatore, the great Samuel Salvatore, who pointed out that he went to what was it? You put it in the
Auburn
show
went to the bank, but couldn't even get a quarterback.
Couldn't even get a quarterback, man. It's so true. It's so true. Logan Chilton, of course, reminds us that, man, this week showed us once again what do you sacrifice to be an Auburn fan?
What do I sacrifice?
What do you?
Everything.
Oh, it's so true. Ben Spooner. I mean, I honestly, he has blasphemy on here, and I just kind of pick what blasphemy is every week. This week, even considering hiring Jimbo Fisher.
Blasphemy!
Carl Von Drunker, Chris and Clinton Stewart. Mark Brown says Aubie for interim head coach. Hey, he can't exactly call the plays, but he could hand signal, paw signal.
He'd be better than Potato.
Oh, well, there are viruses that would be better than Potato at coaching the team. Earl Ricks, Phil Amthor. This is what Kentucky said when they realized they were going to win the game and lose the Summerall sweepstakes.
I'm devastated. I'm devastated. They're celebrating right in front of me. This is the worst. This is the worst. No.
That was the other funny thing on SEC roll call was that like Auburn was celebrating and Kentucky was depressed, and they're like, "But you won." And he's like, "Oh no." And the Auburn guy's like, "Woo!" That was so good.
Like, oh, we might have to keep him.
Yep, that's it. Richard Stevens, Steve Trawick, Ann Pridgeon, Shane Bailey, Susan Trawick, Willie Carden, Matt Flowers, Play It Again, Van. I think we're looking at
My head hurts, my feet stink, and I don't love cheese. That kind of morning really was that kind of night.
I hope that was the right one because that's what I have on the soundboard. Gary Grant, a.k.a. AU fan at KSC, William Morgan, Bradley Blackman, global warming has canceled the freeze warning. And by global warning, that means terrible offense. Michael Kirshner, who I think is still dominating fantasy Formula One. If Carol Shelby could see I'll put it this way. If Carol Shelby could see us after the Kentucky game, he would have said,
I don't speak Italian, but he ain't happy.
That's a dang truth. I think he had sent me a different one, but it's updated. David WDE Salmons Esquire, Harry Zagger, G Money, Rich Reimer, Steve Harlan, Wes Atkinson, Dan Thompson, Catherine England, one Fights Like Gaston, War Eagle always, Mickey B. The three monkeys covering their faces, their eyes, their mouth, and their ears. I hear you. Theodore Gary, Winston Body, defending fantasy F1 drivers manufacturers champion Lane Middleton, Brandon Smith, Daniel Odom. Lane, neither you nor I gonna win this year. I think we just need to. I've about given up. I think it's a done deal with Mr. Kirshner. Brandon Smith, Daniel Odom, Rhodesian Mudflap, H-Town Danny, WDE Richie just wants to run a normal offense with the talent we have on offense. John, I was thinking, how cool would it be if we came out against Vanderbilt in like the wishbone?
In. I'm all in. Great. Do it. Do it.
I know it. Yes. Just run the option on them. Chris Hilton, Ben Bloodworth. Of course, our football players don't wear glasses as a contact sport. I'm not going to give that one a horn since we've done it a bunch of times. Algo Rhythm and Blues, Rusty Owens. Goodbye, Hugh. I should have that sound clip. Well, bye. from Tombstone. No. Yes. Tombstone? Yeah. You know, it might be about time to rewatch that movie. I watched it during the pandemic in 20, I believe it was. No. The last time I watched Tombstone was in 2016. I watched a bunch of Westerns at the end of, and World War II movies in 2016. I think it may be time to go back and revisit that. I'm going to go watch it again. That's the scene with where Kurt, you know, Wyatt.
Yes.
When
Russell.
Billy Bob Thornton comes out and threatens him, and he's like, he just totally emasculates the guy. He just humiliates him and sends him home. That is the best part of that movie. It is so funny. He keeps coming back to kill him, and they just keep embarrassing him and sending him home again. It's just so good. And that was Billy Bob Thornton. By the way, speaking of Billy Bob Thornton, if I can digress again for a second, Landman season 2. Have you watched Landman? We haven't talked about it. It's the trashiest thing ever, but it is so good. As a father of daughters, as you and I both are, you will appreciate the lengths that Billy Bob goes to try to keep his daughter from like the high school quarterbacks and stuff. It's along with like the drug dealers and the oil barons. It's just watch the first episode of Landman, and I swear you will be in. You'll be so in. It's just.
I'm enjoying the best thing on television right now, which is Slow Horses. So.
Oh, Slow Horses! I just finished the latest season. That is so good. That is so good. Batman. It's so good. Luther and Kelly Ottaway, shout out to the people who don't know what the opposite of in is. I don't get it, but okay. Todd Robinson, aka Undisputed 2012 doubles badminton intramural champion. I got to give him a
Please clap.
That's great. I said, put your resume in here, and everybody's doing it, and I love it. Woody the Jag, the official 2024 Bowl Mania champion. Chad McDowell, Auburn football's Elvis. Wade Ward, Reynolds Wolf, Jeff Hunter. David Garner thinks we should fire Hugh Freeze out of a cannon. I guess just go round him back up and fire him again, this time for altitude. Timothy, Russell Milling, Randall Walker, David Simpson, Josh Teal, Tony Perry, Rob Morgan. Patrick Williams says the AU wishbone.
Whether you like it or not, learn to love it because it's the best thing going today.
Woo! Shannon Butson, Construction Tiger, Papa Todd, Cato the Barner. Basketball is here, baby. And then I was supposed to do the other thing, but I can't find it. Oh, here it is. And you know what? They won. Kevin Mahan, Blake Heron, Sarah Hines, Sasquatch, 6-time hiding. Oh my gosh. Sasquatch, 6-time hide and seek national champ. I just love the folks' resumes. Says hire Durkin and get out of the way. On the field, results matter. Okay, so there's a vote for DJ Durkin. Tim Pittman, Boris the Tiger. Boris has been in kind of like denial of everything. Boris has finally accepted that Tommy Tuberville is no longer our coach, but he's not quite sure who the coach is. So I need to sit down and have a talk with him. Charles Mooney, Bill Miner, who once won a tip-off against Mario Fannin in intramural basketball. Hey, that's pretty good. And then Mario got the ball and fumbled it. So David D, Auburn Blue, Dr. Crack was low. That was low. I apologize. Dr. Crackham, Bill Weathers, Philip Martin, Wardam SEC champions. Walt does speak a little Italian, and sono molto felice. The freeze warning for Auburn, Alabama expired yesterday at 12:30 Central. That's true. I want to point this out. I showed this on Twitter yesterday. There are now blank spaces on the soundboard. There's a bunch that have been removed. You will not be hearing anymore. Antoine Morris, ABB, Wiggerbur, the 2005 Auburn University Intramural Horseshoes champion. Tyler Ward, the 2025 War Ready Bracket champion. Mark Squire, Joey Miller, Alex Wynn, Kenneth Brent Raines, who reminds us always that the barbecue.
You have failed me for the last time.
A.K.A. Auburnette for life. John Stubbs, Clay Henson, Justin Bean, James Taylor, and finally, Ruth and Darren Sutherland, Stephen Thompson, Ben Amos, Spanky. I'm at the bottom of this list because
God Wilson! Blasphemy!
Chris Como, Darren Pyle, David Smiley, Trevor Johnson, Royce Alvarez, college equestrian expert Auburn Elvis, AU Falling Up, John Otsuki, Paul Bankson, Russell Souther, MVP Captivating Kathy Bright.
You don't have any friends. Nobody likes you.
That might have been the basketball team if they lost to Bethune-Cookman tonight, man. By the way, Kathy has a podcast she does on Jared's network because he has a separate network from mine where she reviews Sherlock Holmes shows. So you might want to check that out. Pretty cool. Over on the Long Box Crusade Network. Ben Riggis, Bobby Polite, Elizabeth Donald, I'll buy this for $1, Rich Hammett, Chris Braun, Alex Browns, Liver Cirrhosis Albie. I'm sorry Albie's in that bad of shape. Slinko Family, Daniel Witten, Tim Sauls, Jim McCrory. After Trump jailed him, Elon Musk escaped from Alligator Alcatraz, but was eaten. See you later, Elon Gator. New York Tiger Nose, rooting for your team to lose so the coach get fired is the last refuge of the damned. Exactly. Hey, I was wanting us to win over Kentucky till the very last second. Only once the game was over did I start wondering about any silver linings that might come from it. Steve Bailey, CT Tiger, Jim Myers, Trey Jackson, Howard Frantz, Peter Wang, Willie Mose, Zach Doyron, Chris, and our one-time and anonymous donors. We thank you all. www.auwishbone.com. Coming up, we have listener questions and around the SEC, both of which promise to be interesting. But first, it is our occasional look at the biggest knuckleheads, peckerwoods, and miscreants who collectively constitute this week's worst coaches in the world. I think we all know.
I was going to say, it's too bad you deleted those sound clips.
Yeah, I think we all know. Yeah, it's true. I could have made it even more apparent.
The second to worst scoring defense in the SEC, 3 points. I don't think the offense crossed the 50 until the last drive.
And meanwhile, we have one of only 3 defenses that has held every opponent to 24 points or less in the country. Has there ever been such a drastic difference between the offense and the defense?
Sure. I mean, I feel like we're this is 2007 or whatever here, right? We played this game before.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right, we have listener questions. Oh, I got to hit the button. Sorry, hold on.
Thank you. Order. Questions to the Prime Minister.
It's time for listener questions. Dun, 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 on the AU Wishbone podcast.
And I say you.
We gotta get better at celebrating.
All right, what we got?
All right, first one's from Jeff Hunter, who says, the subject line is "Show me your TDs," and he says, "You and Van getting a chuckle out of my name makes me laugh every week. I appreciate the work you're doing and the entertainment you provide. Thanks, and War Eagle, Jeff Hunter."
Well, Jeff, I appreciate the name of your team because it makes me laugh every week. It still is. It's great.
Phil Amthor asked a question: is our offensive line just bad?
It's fair.
Very possibly. Trey Jackson sends an email, says, who do we think we are? He says, gentlemen, as I said in my note to John last week, my brief to the court was written under the assumption that Auburn would beat Kentucky and the issue of changing head coaches would merely be under consideration. What a fool I was, along with anyone else who took Hugh Freeze win at a Hugh Freeze win at Auburn for granted. Nevertheless, I believe the points of my initial email still stand. The only thing I'll add is this. Now that we're in active coaching search, don't hire someone that no one else is seriously considering. Auburn is better than that, and they shouldn't shy away from acting like it. He made a number of points in his initial thing. I'm going to go, but it's pretty long. I'm going to go over a couple real quick, the highlights. This past offseason, we rightfully claimed national championships we weren't previously honoring, bringing our total to 9. How does that compare nationally? We are 3 behind Michigan, 2 behind Notre Dame and Southern Cal, and tied with Ohio State. We are ahead of the following schools: Oklahoma, Tennessee, Miami, Nebraska, Georgia, LSU, Texas, Florida. There are plenty more I could list. Of course, this gets into debates about how legitimate those are. So for more objective criteria, consider all-time wins. We're 19th on the list with 807. LSU, one of the other schools looking for a coach, is 17th with 819, a grand total of 12 wins ahead. Florida is 28th, 39 wins behind Auburn, because Florida was terrible forever. He says, from a historical standpoint, Auburn should not consider themselves substantially behind the other schools that will be looking for coaches this offseason. He talks about the waiting until next year, which isn't a problem now. He says, we have a recent example in our athletic department of a program that moved from the bottom of the pack to consistently competing at the top, basketball. Now, I know this is comparison will invite Van's accurate observation. We were able to get Bruce Pearl to Auburn because of unusual circumstances, and historically, we couldn't have hired a similar coach. But I point to answer the previous question and remind everyone that this is a historically unusual time for college football. Why should we assume there's no amount of money and incentives that could attract the coach we want? I think that's pretty good. Thanks, War Eagle Trey Jackson.
No, hey, Trey, sure.
All right. Next email is from Michael Nobles, and he has a trial of Hugh Freeze submission. He says, "Dear authorities, I'd like to make a submission for the trial of Hugh Freeze. Our problem is not a quarterback problem. It is not a talent problem. It is a coaching problem. We have 2 5-star quarterbacks in the roster and a quarterback with 21 career starts at the Power 4 level. Talent and experience aren't excuses. In addition, I'd like to remind everyone that the coach that just beat us once started a wide receiver at quarterback and put up points. In 2019, Kentucky started at quarterback due to injuries, started a wide receiver at quarterback due to injuries, and put up 38, 50, 45, and 37 points in their final 4 games to end on a 4-game winning streak. I feel like Jeff Bridges and Iron Man yelling, Mark Stoops was able to build that in a cave with a box of scraps. If our quarterback room can't put up more than 3 points in a game with NFL wide receivers and a great running game, then I blame the coaching staff and the coaching alone for failing to find ways to produce offense. This entire season, along with past seasons, have shown an inability to adapt our offense over and over again. The coach doesn't want to win unless it looks the way he wants it to look. Instead of firing him, can we tie him to a chair and have Tiger revise his role from Jones barbecue and foot massage by licking his toes for a few days? Every time he laughs, he has to write a check to On to Victory in the amount of $1 million. Then we fire him. Try not to get violent as my mind wants to go there. So this is what I came up as a sentence punishment. Anyways, War Eagle Brad. That's pretty good.
War Eagle. Yeah. I want to say, I have been taking for granted that all the Tiger toe licking thing has disappeared out of the patron list. It just like one day it was there and one day it was all gone. And I just hadn't even thought about it. I'm really, now I'm like, oh my gosh, it hasn't been there in several weeks. So
I hope he's okay.
I hope he's all right.
All right. Next email is from friend of the podcast, Jared, who has a Kentucky haiku for us.
Oh, here we go. Let's do it.
My football team, bad. Your football team, better. Unless Arkansas.
Unless what?
Arkansas. I'm sorry. I blew it with the laughing. Okay, I'm going to read it again. My football team, bad. Your football team, better. Unless Arkansas.
Jared's got a new undiscovered talent at these.
I'm
That's
sorry,
really
Jared. I messed that up. It's too good.
That's great.
All right. We have an audio question from Win Carroll. Do you have that? Or
I do. Stand by. Here it goes.
Gentlemen, I hope this recording finds you well, whether this is part of a emergency broadcast episode or your regularly scheduled programming. My question has to do with a topic that I'm sure you've spent the last couple of minutes, and I'm sure the coming days and weeks, hopefully not months, discussing, which is the head coaching vacancy at Auburn. It has been officially about 45 minutes since Hugh Freeze was fired, and I have really enjoyed spending those adrenaline-filled minutes scrolling through social media, looking at every Auburn fan's surefire hire that will fix all the problems that the Tigers have. That Sun Belt or AAC coach that has been winning at every level and will be the next great coaching hire that Auburn would be foolish to miss out on, or the well-pedigreed coach that we believe Yellowwood and every Auburn donor from Tim Cook and Charles Barkley on down will surely pony up the money for, so that the Tigers will no longer continue their woes. But two of the names that I have not seen a lot that I would like to question as to why are Cadillac Williams and Rhett Lashley. For the former, I understand the criticism. This is a big position. There is arguably a greater need for Auburn to perform well in the coming years than ever before. And they need someone who has shown consistent capability to win at a high level. However, I have not felt the same type of pride in my alma mater and joy watching Auburn football under Coach Harsin or under Coach Freeze that I felt in those few games where Cadillac took over. And given that we are entering this new era of college football with NIL and the transfer portal and everything else under the sun, I would argue it makes sense to skewer younger in the coaching hire to find a coach that can really connect with the players and really understand a lot of the circumstances that they're in as a former excellent athlete at this university. For Rhett Lashley, you have the proven winner. You have someone who took a traditionally poor program. I know that y'all are a little older, tiny bit older than I am, and you can remember a time period when SMU was good, but as a millennial born in 1991, I certainly can't remember a time when SMU was very good at football. He has taken SMU to the college football playoff in the first year of the expanded format. He just, this past week, defeated Miami. He is a product of the Gus Malzahn coaching tree, which could be a benefit or a drawback, depending on how you and your audience feel about Coach Malzahn. But this is a young coach who has already been successful at a difficult job, and I think he would be a natural fit here at Auburn. Obviously, the natural drawback is that just a few days ago it was announced he's signing a new contract at SMU.
That's what I was.
I'd like to believe that if the Auburn boosters really believed, as I do, that he would be a good fit for the job, that they would be able to outbid a couple of Texas oilmen. I look forward to hearing y'all's thoughts on the matter. Whether you agree with me or disagree with me, whether in my adrenaline-filled excitement that the soundboard is no longer going to be filled up with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mr. Freeze quotes that I have overlooked a couple of glaring things about these candidates, or whether my question brings up some relatively good points that lead to a further discussion. It's been a joy to listen to y'all, and we'll continue to do so in this new post-Freeze era. So thankfully, you can hit the soundboard on this one. Our long national nightmare is over.
Yep.
And hopefully we can get back to winning some football games. War Eagle, y'all.
Well, I think that there's very definite reasons why neither of them is really under consideration, right? Because like you said, Rhett signed a lucrative multi-year, like a 7-year, multi-million-dollar deal. Do you want to get into a bidding war with SMU when there's so many other coaches that are, I mean, I don't know.
I mean, I think it's funny. This is the danger of everybody firing their coach too early. It gives the schools with coaches under consideration too much time to play defense. We've already seen it. Matt Rule was Penn State's #1 target, and they pushed a big contract across the table at him and said, here's a big contract extension, Coach Rule. We're going to sit here every day for the rest of the season until you sign it. And if you don't sign it, it means you don't want to be here, obviously. So why don't you sign it? And then the next day, why don't you sign it? Why don't you sign it? And so that's the same deal with Rhett Lashley. He's there. SMU's got a ton of money. They went to the playoff last year. They may go to the playoff this year. But he was a top target for Arkansas. They wanted him. I don't know whether we're going to get him or not, but they wanted Rhett Lashley. And SMU played defense that he's not going anywhere. Doesn't matter money or not. Like they're signing the deal. And that's a danger zone for us with these coaches at other schools. They can play defense on them. Yeah. I think Carnell Williams, I talked a lot about how much I enjoyed his time as interim coach, but I think there was some off the field stuff where it didn't go well. And that's why he was no longer an assistant coach at Auburn. And so
I don't think he's really welcome back either in that capacity.
No, I mean, I don't think they would hire him back as a running back coach in a new coaching administration. And I think, that part has kind of not gone well. So I think, that ship has sailed, I think so.
I put it this way. I've never heard exactly what happened. I don't want to know exactly what happened, but something happened.
Yep, that's the truth.
All right. What else we got in the bag? Was that the last one?
No, we got a few more. Samuel, friend of the podcast, Samuel Salvatore says, hello, guys, at War Eagle. First, I want to say that Freeze was a likable guy, and I really wanted to put his best effort for the program, especially making recruiting more exciting than it was under Potato. So I thank him for at least getting me excited during the off season with the roster, and I wish him nothing but the best and will root for him wherever he ends up coaching next. Second, of all the candidates I see listed, I like Sumrall as the next Auburn coach. His teams look mentally tough and play physical, and he's from Huntsville, Alabama, and best of all, his wife graduated from Auburn. I think it fits Auburn more than the other big schools, and high schools in Alabama are familiar with him. It's not it's not about going after a big name, but the right fit after now what will be the third coach in 5 seasons at Auburn. Can we just get the right fit with Sumrall? Third, it's basketball season, so we could just kill a bottle of moonshine and yell, War Damn Eagle.
Good job, Sam.
The next question is from SJVS World Tour. This was on Twitter. He said, I have a clever suggestion. You can introduce a new thing, the potato salad show. You eat potato salad, and the potato salad will inspire you to predict the record of an interim coach. And hey, it hasn't failed yet. Okay.
Well, I mean, yeah, the potato salad should predict. Yeah, definitely. I get the connection. I think our listeners just want us to like eat on the air a lot.
I think he's messing with us. I think it was pretty good. I like it.
Yeah, that was good.
All right, this one's from Nicholas Cottrell, and the subject line is "The Voice of the Petty: A Defense of Doug Barfield and Praying for a Jetgate." He says, "Gentlemen, pick your horses and hang on tight because, thank God Almighty, we finally jumped on one of the bumpiest coaching carousels in history. One of the things I admire about the two of you is I can always count on you to be a voice of moderation in turbulent and impassioned times. No matter how bad things get, the two of you are here to be calm reminders that Auburn as an institution is historically a top 15 program, and those days will return. You keep it cool and collected, and to quote squirrely from Letterkenny, that's what I appreciate about you. The listener's mailbag are beholden to no such moderation, so allow me to be the voice of the petty people for a moment. They should have fired him as part of the halftime show. They should have had him find out he was fired by an on-field reporter asking him about his reaction to being fired. They should have flown him to West Palm Beach in the Auburn jet to negotiate his firing just so they could leave him on the tarmac. Pat McAfee should have had a field goal contest to determine which Auburn student got to fire him. Hugh Freeze getting fired is by far the highlight of his career at Auburn because at the end of the day, all his incredible recruits have amounted to is money poured down the drain, and we should have all been allowed more public celebration of it. Thank you for letting me get that off my chest. There will be much discussion about where Hugh Freeze ranks in terms of all-time worst coaches in Auburn history, and even historically, he's pretty far towards the bottom. One name that comes up often in these discussions is Doug Barfield, and for good reason. By no means would I ever call Barfield a good coach. He was coaching his last season at Auburn while I was in diapers, but thanks to your books and my stepfather, I've heard enough about the Barfield years to know how bad they were. But I've always thought he's gotten a worse reputation than he deserves simply because he followed Shug and was followed by Pat Dye. Being the guy between the guys the stadium and field are named after is a rough position to be in. My question for you guys is this. Which coach was worse, Barfield or Freeze? How much do you think the historical perspective matters? And last but not least, there are pretty credible rumors Auburn attempted a buyout after the Missouri game. Do you think Auburn had already called Jimmy Sexton and started talking to coaches before or after that point? Is it a Jetgate situation even notable in the modern landscape of college football? Thanks, and War Eagle as always, Nicholas Cottrell.
Great job, Nicholas. All right, the first thing that comes to my mind is who wasted it worse? Freeze wasting these receivers, or Barfield wasting Cribbs, Brooks, and Andrews?
Wow. we scored points in those days. We just didn't have any defense, right?
That's right. That's right.
So at least the offensive talent he had, he used.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He couldn't stop anybody, but he was able to. Wasn't he the offensive coordinator or something? I always get confused on that, either defensive or offensive. Yeah. So yeah. So that's a good question.
No, it's a good. I want to say. I mean, I don't think Barfield had the same level of talent that Freeze had compared to the rest of the top teams in the SEC, if that makes sense. I feel like Barfield's teams were much further down the pecking order in terms of talent, and Freeze's teams were not that far off from the top teams in terms of talent. I think that matters a lot. So I think Barfield was maybe doing a little more with less.
I give Barfield credit for the orange jerseys and for those incredible polo shirts with the giant plaid collars on the solid shirt. I mean, Freeze wore this basically.
Not everybody can wear that Barfield shirt.
No, nor should. But I'm wearing the orange Nike thin long sleeve Auburn hoodie shirt. Freeze wore a lot of these, the white one, the blue one, the camouflage. But you can't touch those Barfield polos, man. That was just righteous. 1970s. Oh, the 70s.
The collars.
Everything.
His comment at the end about attempted buyout after Missouri, I'm just going to say this, like, Cohen had clearly not talked to Freeze in a couple of weeks. And I think Cohen, this is John Ringer's opinion, not reporting. I think Cohen was already deep into who do I want to hire. I think he was out there doing research and asking people and talking to people off the record, that kind of stuff.
And what did Cohen say today when they asked him about the hiring committee?
He said, the hiring committee is me. It's all on him.
I am the committee. He literally said, I am the committee. I wish I had I am the law from Judge Dredd. I am the law.
So it's all on him. The L pressure. All right, we got a couple more emails. This one's from Bill Miner, who says the subject line is worst game you have attended. He says, hey guys, fortunately I wasn't there on Saturday, but instead watched from the comfort of my home. But I've been through plenty of games that had the elements of awfulness. Number one, in 2006, we were in the top 5. It got stomped by Georgia with it raining in the second quarter and a wicked wind afterwards. Number 2, in 2012, I and a group of friends picked the A&M game where we were down 42-0 at halftime, also miserable. In 2022, I went to the Penn State game, which was miserable in other ways, and really put the writing on the wall for potato. Which football games did you attend in person, which were the worst in your minds? You want me to go first? What are you thinking? Or you got one?
No, go ahead. You were at that Penn State game.
I was at the Penn State game. That's not even the top 10.
No, I wouldn't think so.
That Kentucky game was up there. That was tough. I also went to the last Harsin home game against Arkansas. It was a noon kickoff, Jefferson Pilot time slot of death, and that crowd was dead as a doorknob. That's the least energy a Jordan Hare ever. And I'm including when the stadium is empty on a day-to-day basis. And then I went to the 2011 Auburn, Alabama game at home. So the game after they came back when Alabama was great and we were a shell, and they absolutely pasted us, and that was not pleasant.
No. All right. These are going to be hard to top for me. I was at the 1990 Florida game in Gainesville, 48-7, when Spurrier just opened up a can on us.
I hated watching that game on TV. I cannot imagine being there.
They scored 7-0. We scored 7-7. And then it was on. It was all from there, man. That was one. I was at the Florida State game in 87. You were probably too, right? The 87 Florida State game where we were so good all year, and that was just the late and egg game. And Tracy Rocker got out for the season.
Got hurt. The
last play of the game, he had no business being in there.
Yep. It was 34-6, I think. But
Yeah. Oh, it was awful. And then the other one though, and this is, I don't know if this is like a bad blowout or anything, but just in terms of how miserable I felt afterward. I mean, there were a couple of Arkansas games around in the Tuberville era that, like the one where Fred Talley just ran all over us. But I think it's pretty close between 1999 and 2001 Alabama. Because here's the thing. The 99 Alabama was the first time they ever beat us in Jordan-Hare, and I was furious. I was so mad that we lost to them in our stadium. We'd never done it before. 2001, though, we were supposed to be better than them. They were having a bad year, and that was the game where we just didn't look like we had a clue. Cadillac got hurt in the first quarter, and after that, we just fell apart, and they killed us with what's his name? Texas A&M coach.
Price. No, Franchione.
Franchione, yeah. That's to me the three: the Florida 90, Florida State 87, and Alabama either 99 or 01. Yeah,
that's a good one.
Those are terrible.
All right. That was a good email. That was a good one. All right. Next email is from Paula Perkins. She says, I would like to formally apologize to Peyton Thorne. That's all. War Eagle, Paula.
I mean, I was just going to say earlier, the thing about it is Thorne did make critically bad turnovers, but he also got the ball down the field with his legs and with his arm better than Jackson Arnold has.
Yes.
By far.
We thought the quarterback was holding us back last year, and maybe he was exceeding what's possible in this offense.
Again, the turnovers were the thing. If not for those interceptions, Thorne was not that bad last year, retrospectively.
Agree.
But the turnovers killed us. Then this year's been the opposite of that.
All right. And next, we got a couple more. This one's from Joe Pierce, who says, War Eagle, Van and John, I'm currently watching the press conference with Cohen and Durkin. Put me in the camp that thinks Durkin isn't the right guy for Auburn long term, but I'm genuinely impressed with the job he's doing in this press conference. I've loved watching him on the sideline. It looks like he's having fun coaching the defense. If he brings this energy and is able to do something on offense, I might be convinced to accept him. I don't get the same vibes from any of the Freeze pressers, so maybe it's just a breath of fresh air. My question is, do you think if he beats Vanderbilt and Alabama, long shots I know, does he get the nod for the full-time gig? Also, if you're looking to celebrate something, Auburn's collegiate flying team, the War Eagle flying team, did really well in the LaGrange Regional, where we took home a ton of honors, including top overall pilot for second year in a row. Maybe that bumps your fun meter score by a half point. And I'd say probably
good. Glad to find that out. Here's my Durkin answer. All right. This sounds like I was cursing. Here's my Durkin answer. You
Durkin answers.
Is this he's not going to beat Alabama. He's probably not going to beat Vanderbilt. And I know that Durkin supporters are not going to want to hear this, but if he goes 1-2 and loses to Vanderbilt and Alabama, he's not going to be strong consideration. And through really no fault of his own, because the job he was hired to do, he has done fine.
Agree.
But being head coach is not the job he was hired to do.
But I also want to say, like, if he goes 3-0, I'm not going to be like landslide hire Durkin tomorrow. I still want to consider other candidates. So
yeah. But I'm just saying he's not, and that's going to be their out.
Yes, agree. We can't import a new quarterback today. So
no.
All right, last one. This is from Rusty Owens. He says, "Good afternoon, authorities. As I suspect, the mailbag is overflowing, so I'll keep this brief. I just want to say I have my pick for head coach DJ Durkin. We have said if we could have an average offense this year, it would be so good. So I ran the numbers. The number 8 scoring offense this year is Oklahoma with 25 points a game. If we scored 25 points a game, our record would be 9-0. I don't want another offensive guru. I want someone who can hire a competent offense, and the rest will take care of itself." Rusty Owens.
No, I mean, that's the case. That's absolutely the case for Durkin, and I don't deny it. And I mean, if he goes 2-1, they'll look at it. But if he goes 1-2, I feel like they don't want him, and that'll be the out. I think they'd love to keep him as defensive coordinator. I don't know how likely that is, depending on who we do hire. I mean, because Terry Bowden came in and kept Wayne Hall. Yeah. So it has been done. There is precedent.
I mean, again, if DJ Durkin is going to get other calls from other schools to be the defensive coordinator for sure.
Yeah.
So, but I would be fine if Auburn kept him. I think that would be a great move.
Yeah. Would he want to stay as defensive coordinator after being interim head coach for 3 games?
I don't know.
Is he expecting that somebody's going to offer him a full-time head coaching job if he doesn't get the Auburn job as head coach?
I don't know, but I have not heard that at a Power 4 level for sure.
I know that one of the things people that don't want Durkin as our head coach have said is nobody's wanting to hire him as a head coach.
I think that's a fair thing. Like if he's not a candidate that other schools are interested in, why should we back up the truck and lock him up instead of looking around at who other people also want? Yeah, I have 3 more names I thought of that I want to throw in the pile.
Update.
This could be like tier C or whatever, right?
You talking about all these people?
Assemble the army!
We have an army of coaching candidates. Do it.
All right. Bob Chesney is the head coach of James Madison. Now I'm going to say this.
You said they're on the rise. You have said this.
Well,
I'll testify.
The current Indiana coach, Signetti, came from James Madison. They have really smart people there. They went and found this guy. He's a Yankee, okay? But he is a really, 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 really good football coach. And I think Penn State should hire this guy. So, this is me saying, if you like what Indiana's doing on the football field, you may want to consider this guy because I think he has the kind of potential to take a job and turn into like a real war machine. So my other name, you're going to hear it. I think we're talking about is Fran Browns at Syracuse. He was the defensive backs coach at Georgia on those 2 national title teams. So he's been an SEC recruiter for a while. He coached under Kirby and those guys. He knows how to recruit. He went to Syracuse last year. They got a cast-off quarterback from Ohio State, won 10 games, had a fun offense at Syracuse, an entertaining team. Their quarterbacks have all got hurt this year, so they're bad. But I think he's an interesting human being and a good recruiter, a good coach who knows the SEC. And I tried to think of a coordinator all along because look around college football. Dan Lanning, coordinator. Ryan Day, coordinator. Kirby Smart, coordinator. Sarkisian was a coordinator when he got hired to Texas. He had been a head coach before, but he was still a coordinator. Lane Kiffin, coordinator. Okay. He had been a head coach before, but he was a coordinator. Mm-hmm. The only coordinator I could find there's the Oregon coordinator, I think is Will something. He's going to get some jobs. He's going to get UCLA or some other job. He's an excellent offensive coordinator. Glenn Schulman is the Georgia defensive coordinator. I don't know anything about him. I don't know if he's, could be an SEC head coach, but that is a guy who's been under Kirby for years. And if you look around the SEC, is who's a coordinator that could get hired? It's really him and the Texas A&M offensive coordinator. So I put Schulman on my list.
Okay. No, outside the box. I like it. Yeah. So he's sort of the Kirby Smart. He's Kirby Smart to Kirby that Kirby was to Saban.
That's it. Exactly.
Okay. All right. Let's take a quick look around the SEC. So Texas beat Vanderbilt 34-31, but it was much worse than that. Vandy came back at the end. Texas owned the first quarter, Vanderbilt owned the fourth quarter, but they came up short again. Georgia beat Florida 24-20 on a very controversial pass that looked like a catch, but it was hard to tell. Mississippi State beat Georgia's been living a charmed life this year. Let's be honest. They haven't impressed me at all. They just keep finding a way to.
But they know how to win and they execute. They don't beat themselves and they wait for the team to beat themselves and they get better as the game goes along too.
And yes, they do. And sometimes that's all you need. Mississippi State finally won. They beat Arkansas 38-25 or was it 35? I don't know. But anyway, but yeah, that was it was 38-35, right? Because they beat them by one score. Ole Miss beat South Carolina 30-14. That's one of those games that Ole Miss could have messed around and lost. Because Ole Miss will win a big game and then turn around and lose a dumb game they shouldn't. They lost to Kentucky last year or something, Mm-hmm. Not that we can say anything. Oklahoma and Tennessee, that was a nice shootout, and Oklahoma pulled it out. I think this is the most impressive win for Oklahoma this year.
It is. That's a good win.
Cheating to beat us. The fact that they had to cheat to beat a terrible Auburn team.
It was in Tennessee too.
This is interesting and is relevant right now. We're having Tulane Watch 2025. University of Texas San Antonio, the Roadrunners. They went up. Tulane got to play the Coyote, and the Roadrunner toyed with them like they were the Coyote, and beat the socks off. It was ugly, which is not good for Summerall. But you can't base everything on one game, good or bad, right? It's just one of those things. But they've won 22 home conference games in a row. San Antonio has. It does make me wonder why nobody's looking at San Antonio's coach.
He may get some play at other jobs. We'll see.
Yeah. So this week they play Friday night at Memphis, 8:00 Central, 9 Eastern on ESPN or whatever you're using to get your ESPN. I'm there. I'm like watching Tulane on a Friday or Thursday night every week, just checking out what they're all about, soaking them up. And against Memphis, that'll be a good game. I mean, that could be for the conference championship. Mm-hmm. So that'd be very good. And let's get another good look at Summerall. All right, coming up next week, Georgia at Mississippi State in the Jefferson Pilot game. Mississippi State, man, This is the kind of game Mississippi State loses on the last drive.
Oh yeah, no, they'll hang around for 3 quarters and then
for 3 quarters. Citadel at Ole Miss, so we know that even Ole Miss can't find a way to blow that one. Surely They're not Arkansas in 1992 or whatever. Texas A&M at Missouri, interesting battle of the 2012 editions to the conference. A&M should win, but Missouri really has their back up against the wall now. After losing to Vanderbilt, they need to win this, and without their quarterback.
Yeah, LSU, that's the big thing. The quarterback's hurt.
Yeah, too bad for Missouri. LSU at Alabama. Who's LSU's coach now? Who are they running with? I don't even know.
Frank Wilson, the running back coach, is the interim coach, I believe.
Okay, so I would love to see Alabama lose because I love to see Alabama lose at everything and anything.
I'm not holding my breath with
the
LSU situation.
And then Florida at Kentucky. If Kentucky wins this game, and they could, you have to think that he might be around another year. Which
again, it Stoops against interim coach for Florida. So
yeah, if Kentucky is one of our main competitors to get the coach we want, then we want them to win.
We may have already kept Stoops' job. I don't know. So.
Yeah, exactly. All right, what's your non-conference games to watch?
I like BYU at Texas Tech for the 2 of the best teams in the Big 12 fighting for a playoff spot. That'll be a really, really good game. Noon on ABC. And then at noon on Fox is Indiana at Penn State. Indiana is the #1 team in a lot of the power rankings right now. And so if you'd like to see Penn State get fed into a wood chipper, this game is for you.
This is it. Oh, I love it. And I guess BYU at Texas Tech is the Mormons and the Millionaires. All right. Can't wait. All right, John, we brought this sucker in at just 2 hours and 6 minutes or thereabouts, something like that. 2 hours and 3 minutes on YouTube. So I think
if you stayed with us this whole time, bless you and thank you.
And thank you and War Eagle. All right. We're going to get on out of here. We will see you guys down the road. Our time is up. Well, thank you. Here's War Eagle, John.
War Eagle, man.